káwa tó ṣeré o ká máa tí ì ṣe bàbá.
Ìbà ló yẹ ká kọjú káwa tó ṣeré o ká mọ̀ tí ì ṣe bàbá o.
Ìbà ló yẹ ká kọjú káwa tó ṣeré o ká máa tí ì ṣe bàbá.
Ìbà ló yẹ ká kọjú káwa tó ṣeré o ká mọ̀ tí ì ṣe bàbá o.
Ìbà ló yẹ ká kọjú káwa tó ṣeré o ká máa tí ì ṣe bàbá.
Ìbà ló yẹ ká kọjú káwa tó ṣeré o ká mọ̀ tí ì ṣe bàbá o.
Olódùmarè
Ìbà ni mo ṣe,
Ifá
ìbà ni mo ṣe,
ẹlẹ́gbára
ìbà ni mo ṣe,
láàlú
ìbà ni mo ṣe,
òrìṣà ńlá
ìbà ni mo ṣe,
olúkòso
ìbà ni mo ṣe.
ọ̀sán yìí o.
Lafayette, Mandala, Baby Fahoudie, it's your favorite warrior, Black Panther in the building. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate everybody pulling up. Appreciate everybody that was watching the show before mine with Brother Sean. Saw that boys was going into the crates, getting some good information. This is the Mẹta podcast. I am waiting for my fellow Awo to pull up. Appreciate K Pretty. Appreciate you pulling up. Is that who I think it is? Is that Vasa? Hey man, it's been a long time. What's going on, bro? Brother Keenan Wright. Appreciate y'all pulling up, man. Appreciate y'all pulling up. So tonight, got some topics. Got some topics for y'all to go and ponder on. There are different topics in the Sheshe community, also known as Ifa for people. So our first topic tonight is what gender is the Orisa known as Olokun in Isheshe? So this is a highly debated topic. We're gonna get into that. It's not as simple as one may think. Not as simple as one may think. Our second topic for tonight is Orisa practice just for the rich? And if not, what are some ways to manage spiritually when someone is low on funds? So this is a topic that I think will be very beneficial to the community because, not everybody's well off. Not everybody has the means to shell out some of the most expensive sacrifices, whether it be food, whether it be animals, whether it be clothing, whatever it is. Some people just don't have the funds. So we're going to talk about, different ways you can manage spiritually if you don't have the funds. Our third topic for tonight is going to be what effects have neocolonialism have on Isheshe. First, we're going to define what neocolonialism is, and then we're going to talk about what effects it has on our practice. Of course, we know neocolonialism is alive and well in the diaspora, on the continent, and everywhere in between. So we're definitely going to talk about how that affects our Orisa practice globally. Our fourth topic is talking about one of the new things that has come about in the spiritual community, which is shadow work. We're going to define what shadow work is and manifesting. How is that in the Sheshe community? What's going on, yeah?
I was having such a hard time getting on.
Really?
I have a new phone, so
Oh, you got a new
everything was
phone.
all yeah.
Okay, okay. Well,
I'm trying to move up in the world.
trying to move. Okay, okay. Yeah. Well, Ekale to you. Good
Hey,
evening.
Kale.
Uh, is my brother with you?
Yes, he's coming. He's coming.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, before we get started, understand that you were in Nigeria recently. How was your trip?
Yes.
How was your travel?
Um, it was amazing as always, hot as always. This trip was a bit special for me because I had one of my closest friends. She's actually my line sister. Um,
Oh,
she
you ain't
was
gonna skip
getting
past that. What line? What line? What you rep? You
ah
ain't gonna skip past that.
I am a Zeta. I represent
Ooh.
Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Okay. Okay.
Um, yes. I crossed in Spring '08 at Delaware State University.
Delaware State.
Um,
Is Delaware State close
so
to
yes, it is.
okay. Okay. I was right then. I was right.
Yep.
Okay.
Hornets. Um, but yes, we crossed Spring '08, so we got some time in the game. But over the years, she's seen my growth, she's seen my change, and she started becoming more and more interested and asking questions, and then involving herself and started getting idafas done, and then it just that's all it took. So she had made a decision to go, and I was mainly there. I didn't know I did my Junifa, but I didn't know initiations this time, even though I got a few more. But
Sure.
I was mainly
You ain't sneak one
yeah,
in.
no. So I was just mainly there to be supportive of her, which is something I wish I had, for someone to be there who like knows me, and then to get to also witness um me again, if that makes sense. So like,
Yeah. Because
I know
you're reborn when you get initiated for those.
exactly. So I think, it was destined for us to be there because it came out in Nidafa. It was like already, if I said that we're technically Egbe. We're Egbe in this life.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
she's
major.
and we have the same birthday. She's just 3 years older than me.
And for
So
those watching, so Egbe, our mates in the spiritual world, in the ancestral realm, all of us belong to a society in the ancestral realm, in the spiritual realm. So some of us belong to the same society in the spirit.
hmm
So when you meet someone on earth and they say when you have this instant connection and you just
yep.
vibe, and y'all just friends and y'all just cool and you ain't gotta force it and you ain't gotta y'all just
Yep.
kidding. You may room or society in the Orun being the spiritual realm. Some people translate it as heaven. But I like to say the spiritual realm or the realm of the ancestors to be more
Gotcha.
appropriate. So, being that you and your friend it came out of divination, that's major. That's major.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was really excited to be there for her and just be supportive and like just to be a witness for her, you know what I mean? Because I know coming back home, even with some of my other friends or some family members, a lot of family members, 'cause I'm the only one who practices this. Um, you kind of sound a little crazy sometimes, you start to get in a realm where you try, like you're not trying to, but it almost seems like you're trying to convince people. So it's like, to have someone there where they have been a witness to the change, be a witness to that rebirth, it's really dope. And I was really thankful that I was able to be there for her and get there and really witness that and, just be supportive and helpful. And, I just want to say shout out to her. Her Ifa name is Ifa D Room, if I'm saying that right, Ifa D Room, which literally means Ifa is generational. or Ifa becomes generational. Ifa
Wow.
has become generational.
That's major. So that's like her lineage
Yep.
divinity now. So her whole lineage are now under the protection of or in association with Orumila and Ifa.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's major. That's major. Hey, Kale Baba, how you doing? I know you've been doing a lot of Eboriru. You've been working with clients all day. Appreciate you making time for the pod as always. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, y'all. Yeah, I'm just getting in. Yeah, a lot of work today, as we were just talking about earlier. You got a lot of work coming up for you too.
Yeah, man. You know, it's that time of year. So, for people that don't know, of course we have a traditional Yoruba calendar. But for all us in the diaspora, we go by the Gregorian calendar as well. So it's custom for people to get divinations around this time of year for the year. So a lot of people get divinations around this time of year. So if you're a practicing awo, practicing priest, this is the time of year where you probably gonna be doing a lot of work, a lot of helping, a lot of divinations, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of cooking, a lot of chanting, a lot of praying, a lot of
A lot.
a lot. I know all the botanicas and online stores love this time of year.
Oh yeah.
They shipping out everything, cola nuts, fish. Like, ooh,
Herbs.
come on. So it's just that time of year to get it in. So you got to be flexible and ready to look for items, order items, maybe purchase items from friends, see what you can substitute if
Yeah.
feasible. It's just a lot of work around this time of year. So we made time for y'all tonight. So, we're going to get it in. So without further ado, I will ask EI first. In your tradition, in your I should say your lineage in Isheshe, what gender is Olokun?
Woman. We see Olokun as a woman energy, feminine energy.
Okay. The same question to you, Baba. In
Yeah,
your
we're part of the same
Oh, you
lineage.
got the same lineage. I forgot. I'm the oddball. I'm sorry.
Female, in our lineage.
And it's the same in mine as well. Olokun is a female, and for the longest time, that is the only narrative I knew until recently. Talking with other people around Nigeria, it seems to, in some regions, have a slightly different twist. I'm sure y'all are familiar with part of the Oriki Olokun Asorodayo. They talk about how Olokun went into, or rather, Orumila went into the ocean to be with Olokun, and he left, and that was that. That was the version I was familiar with. Apparently, there's another type of Olokun called Olokun Siniade, which they say that is the Olokun that we know as the ocean. That is the one that is usually what people are talking about. Apparently, there's another reference to an Olokun Aja Okoto, which was a king. And this is where the confusion may be coming into play. There's a reference to this king in the Odu Osaokbe, but he has no association with Olokun the Orisha. But that is one of the things that has come up and people have been debating. They're like, no, he was a king. Like, oh no, it was the wife of Orumila. No, it's just the ocean. So that's been the big debate. So that's why I wanted to bring it up and explain those different facets of Olokun. But for, as you can see, different lineages, but our consensus is Olokun is female. And also Olokun's daughter, Ajay, is female in lineage as well. You know, Orumila being the, I don't want to say ladies, man, but he got a lot of wives, man. So Olokun is definitely one of them. So you know,
the way that Olokun is done in our lineage is a little bit different. It's more Edo style. It's not really Yoruba style.
Okay.
And I mean, I know people say Olokun originally comes from the Edo people. I know some people go back and forth like that.
Right.
But that's like, you know, one of their main deities. So when people think of for anybody listening, when you think of like Benin, like people always get Benin the country and Benin Edo confused. So Edo Benin is within Nigeria. It's so when you think about the bronzes, think about the whole story about those bronzes that were stolen by the British when they led that raid, and they're in the museum now. That's the Edo Benin people. So the way that we do Olokun in our lineage is more Edo style than it is Yoruba style. So like we draw the symbols in the chalk. And again, this is not my area of expertise at all. We draw symbols with the chalk on the, because my Uluo's mother is Edo. So they always come in to do festivals. We draw the symbols with chalk on the ground. The drumming is different than the Yoruba drumming. The names that we receive, people who I know have initiated to Olokun, is not exactly Yoruba names. Right. Names in that as well. You know, so similarities, but you know, some differences in how we practice as well. But again, this is not my area of expertise.
That's dope, though. And for people, like you said, it's important. Benin City today, not Benin Country. Benin Country would be old Dahomey. Benin City, you know, is still in Nigeria. And yeah, Olokun, big deity in Edo country, almost so much like an Oduduwa or an Obatala in their culture. You know, the stories of creation, Olokun is in them. You know, more frequently than it would be in Yoruba creation story. So you know, that's cool that you get to see that. I don't really have a lot of experience with Olokun on the Yoruba side. I know a few people here and there that are initiated to Olokun and they go to the ocean, and I've seen on an Olokun shrine, but I don't mean a lot of Olokun children. I don't. You know, and I think that contributes to the confusion as well, because you don't have a lot of just Olokun priests walking around saying, you know, oh, I can tell you, you know, Pipe Olokun and this, that, and the third. So, you know, that contributes to, you know, that type of that confusion. And then, you know, in the diaspora, people like to try to fuse Olokun and Yemoja kind of together, you know. So that may also contribute to the confusion.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's always a.
Hey, you know how some of our brothers and sisters do now. You know, the top of the ocean is this, the bottom.
I always tell people that's
no.
Yemoja, and because in the region where our lineage is from, Abeokuta, the Ogun River for Yemoja runs right through it. So every time we go to our Luo's house, we're always crossing over that river. Every time we go back and forth,
yep.
You know, so it's a big part of, you know, the area that we're from, and stuff like that. And yeah, I always tell people that Yemoja is a river. Raise poetry, Yemoja Olodo. Like people from the people will sing that. And I respect people have that. There's been different folklore created.
They don't know what it means.
They'll say Yemoja Olodo, Awalodo. What does that Olodo mean? That Odo there is river, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And even when Olokun, you know his name, owner of
the sea, ocean.
Yes.
kind of in the I mean, but y'all are doing that work with the language piece, and you know that's why it's so important. You know, to know what you're saying,
Yeah.
to know what you're singing, because you know it gives clues to
Yes.
the emotion itself. You know, so that's big, and that's an important piece.
I agree.
So the second question for tonight is: Orisa practice just for the rich?
Woo.
And if not, what are some ways one can be spiritually involved and fortified if they don't have the funds? I'll start with you, EI.
So I would say, of course, it's not, but I will give credit to what it looks like to people who don't know. It may look like that. It may seem like that because, you know, if you even talk to someone and they'll be like, well, okay, how much did it cost to get initiated? And people just be throwing out thousands, not, you know, $10, not $20. So on the outside, it might look like, what? Like, that's a lot of money. You know, that's the money for my car. That's money for my house or something like that. But when you dig a little deeper, you have people within Nigeria, you know what I mean? They're not the wealthiest, but you have Babalaos who've been studying since they have been born. They know more than maybe anyone here in America and didn't even initiate yet or haven't even initiated yet because they can't afford it. But by what they know, by how long they have been studying, to me, those are priests. You know what I mean? They just don't have the title because of, you know, initially the cost of it. And I can understand both sides, but it's not for the rich. It's more available to people who have, you know, I don't want to say available, but it's more, you know, they get to do a bit more, you know, oh, here, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. But I think overall, it's for everyone, especially when you have set your mind for it, you have set that you want to do this, like you can find the means and the ways to, even if you can't pay it, you can indulge yourself in the studying of it. You can indulge yourself in the community. You can indulge yourself in a teacher, you know what I mean? Just like they do in Nigeria, you can take the time to learn, to study, to do this, do that, do this, do that, and the money will come. You know what I mean? And if you have good teachers, you have a good community, they'll help you, and that because that's what we're here for. So I would say no.
What about you, Baba?
I mean, so you made some great points. I think in Nigeria, at least the way the tradition is organically, it's not solely about money. And you made some good points where, like, when Ifa priests take on these young boys and girls as well to mentor them and things like that, it's not really necessarily a money making thing. Like you said, like it's not like, oh, we doing billable hours for, you know, if you like Maulu or our Oluo live with his teacher for 11 years, it's very common to see people live with their teacher for 10, 15, whatever years. It's not they're not billing hours back to the family. Hey, he's not telling me file for 10 hours today. That's $50. I told him for 10 hours today. That's 50. Like, no. So it's so you're speaking to some good points that the core of the culture is not money driven, but Babalao's got to eat. Yanifa's got to eat. Yalurisha, Babalurisha, all they got to eat. You know, so there's a cost factor there. That does bother me sometimes with the tradition here. Like it's so costly, but I get it from the side of working as a fire priest. Stuff costs, man. You know, a goat could be $400 by itself. You know, all these things, these supplies are hard to get. So I get it. Stuff costs. It's time, the time and the work that gets put in. I think stuff should be valued. You know, it should not be like, oh, you know, let me just skimp the Ifa priest. No, because this is supplies, money, a lot of work, things like that. So I would say, number one, the core of it has to be what you said, which is that this is not about money. I want to get paid, but my goal for doing this is not solely money. That has to be the number one principle. If you operate from that, no, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be able to waive the cost of everything, right? But the way that I engage with people is not going to be 100% money driven. And we see some priests where they're 100% about money, and then you see them start to add money to things. So that's number one. The core has to be, we're not entering this tradition or working as priests 100% for money. Number two, I think that it's more of a range to me, right? Like when I say it's a range, I'm trying to figure out how to explain what I mean when I say it's a range. Like there's extremes on either end. There's extremes where, which I have a problem with, which is like people in the tradition where it's like, I won't teach nobody nothing. I won't, even my own godchildren, so I won't show them nothing. I won't teach them nothing unless I'm billing every single hour that I spend with them. That to me is not how the culture survives. Because like you said, you take on these students for 10 years and mentor them. Is not about money, right? So I think that's one extreme. Those people where every single last thing is billable hours, is this, is that, or it's $50. Oh, you asked me one question, $100, this, that. That is killing our tradition. Then on the other end, I think, people just need to understand that it takes a lot of time and effort to work as an Ifa priest. So our time should be valued. The very last thing I'm going to say is, so again, there's extremes to be careful. The very last thing I'll say is, if you operate from the principle that this is not 100% about money, there are ways in which, and we talked about some of them. We talked about, I think we've had that in both of our lineages, where if the person is not able to pay for the ebal, there's a ritual we can do to tie things over while they wait to pay for their bar. I'll just give an example of that. I witnessed a client come to the house to get work done. She's a, Yoruba person from around the way. She said, look, y'all, it's going to take me months to come up with this ebo money. So we did, and you can talk more about that. I still say y'all lineage. We did the ritual to tie things over while she saved ebo money. So we did, it included a lot of the stuff that ebo ritual includes. But then she's going to come back and do the actual animals and the full process in a couple months. So that's just one example. But there's ways, if that's your goal and principle, which is not 100% money driven, there's ways. Offerings are also operate on scales too. You can see that in Nigeria. Literally, within Ifa, a particular offering, you have a lower end of it, you have a higher end, right? A lower end could be a rooster. A higher end could be a ram. It could be also how many of a particular item is given. It could be, hey, 500 snails versus 16 snails. It could be so. If you have that principle, I think that yes, you're still going to want to be valued for your time, but it's not going to be 100% about money, and you're not going to be trying to hike up everything. So, I mean, I know we had talked about that ritual too, and I think that's in y'all lineage too, right?
Absolutely. And for us, it would be called Ta Ebonu. So it's when if you have a ebo that comes out of a divination, you don't have the money. You got some of the money. We can do what's called a Ta Ebonu, tie things over. That is to keep the negative parts of the Odu away from you until you're able to complete the Odu. So that is one way if you're in a situation where you're low on funds, where you can still be fortified spiritually. Another way. First, before I say that, I want to say I don't know any rich babalawos. Not one. I don't know any rich Orisa priest of any function. I don't know no rich drummers. I don't know no rich medicine men. I don't know anybody that is just slanging cash in this tradition. I know some people that they're successful, of course,
yeah.
but rich, like I don't know any. I don't know not one. So for that proves to me that this tradition is not about being rich, and Isheshe is not a rich-driven society. And as you spoke on, Baba Ade, traditionally, we're talking about cowrie shells, we're talking about plantain, we're talking about palm wine, we're talking about other things that were exchanged for the work. Now that
corn,
really, capitalism And that kind of segues into our next question that we'll speak on later. But that has affected, our practice, globally.
Mm.
Unfortunately, that's just what we're living in, where we don't control the prices, we don't control customs, where they snatch our cola nuts, or another item you try to get in and you can't get it in because the borders have done whatever, or they've
Uh-huh.
changed the shipping price. We're at those things mercy.
Mm.
That's just a part of doing business in general, not limited to Jesse Shay. But I will also say learning how to do ose is one way that you can be spiritually fortified. And if you stick to a consistent schedule
Yep.
with ose, and what I mean by ose is worshiping the Orisha that you're chose to worship. And let's say it's Ifa. If you're going to Ifa on that consistent every fourth day, where it's hitting on their worship day, that is fortifying you spiritually.
Mm.
I can't remember the old dude, but it talks about the Orisha will favor consistency over tears.
Mm.
So,
Oh,
it's
I
talking
like
about
that.
people going and crying to the Orisha, but if were more consistent, that will be rewarded more than your emotion.
Awesome.
Um, that is a way to be fortified spiritually, because out of that practice, you're getting blessings, you're getting warnings, you're getting, things you need to do, all of that can come out of Ose and casting Kolonite. So that
Mm.
can be a way to fortify you spiritually. Another way is Olokun, which medicines, charms, soaps. There are other things in our tradition, that you may be advised to purchase or acquire. Sometimes these things come out of divination. We make akoshe, which is work that comes out of divination. But there's also medicine that stands alone that you can just use,
Mhm.
time. So those are the three ways I thought about. If you don't necessarily have available funds, and working in this tradition, if you go to a divination and ask, my money been funny, I've been trying to figure out a way to make more money, your diviner can divine on that.
Mhm.
I've
Mm.
seen it where they say, well, you need to focus your efforts on this type of business, or you need to focus on
Mhm.
thinking about this, or, and things will come out of divination that you probably were thinking about, but you were a little hesitant to try.
Mhm.
And, Rumila or whatever the Orisha may be will say, do it.
Mhm.
You've been thinking about it, do it, and that probably will bring you more ire and more blessings and or more money into your household, to where you can do some of the things that you need to do spiritually. And I will say this as well, and it's a common practice in our tradition: when the Orisha blesses you abundantly in whatever shape or form, it is customary that you now pour back into the Orisha. So people do this a majority of ways. Some people, give a big feast for the Orisha. Some people, they sacrifice animals for the Orisha. Some people
Mhm.
get a bigger shrine for the Orisha, or a better container, or place to put the Orisha, because we know shrines grow with implements and other things. So this is just ways that when it blesses you, you pour back into the Orisha. You were gonna say something
Yep.
about it?
Yeah, I was going to pose a question to you and to Ia. So when you ask the question, you know, do you have to be rich to practice this tradition? I think you're asking it from a standpoint of knowing what's reasonable and what's not reasonable, and knowing like, okay, this tradition's costly, but you have a balanced understanding of what's reasonable and what's not. What I find is that a lot of people don't have that. So when they're thinking, okay, is this tradition meant for rich people? They're actually being charged exorbitant amounts, and they're actually being, I would even say, scammed or cheated out of their money. And so my question for y'all, what are some of the, and this is a question I keep trying to bring up, but it's always tricky because it starts a fire because there's so much of a price range. People be like, oh no, 4,000 for elbow is reasonable. That's what we do in my lineage. And they be like, oh, and everybody goes back and forth. And every time I try to bring this up, it always starts a fire. So
I saw you trying to bring this up on Facebook.
I did. So what's a way that someone you would say that with the flexibility of price ranges, what's a way that you would say someone could know, like, hey, what I'm being charged is I'm being taken advantage of versus what I'm getting? How do you feel like someone could know that tangibly?
Okay, and like
if they don't have knowledge like you have the knowledge to know.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back to when I was brand new. And I want to start from like the base. So you're getting a divination, whether it's Idasa or Idafa. And for me, that can range anywhere between $50 to $100. That's been my experience. And that is just the divination. That is just to get the information from the Odu that applies to your life. I want to be clear on that. You are paying the diviner to access an oracle to get this information. After that is when it gets tricky. The Odu will fall, the information will come, and now we will decide, there are going to be obviously things that come out of the Odu that if, the trained diviner will recognize, but it also ask, it may be one of those Odu that is not clear, so you may have to ask. Some people have automatic Ebo items that come that they just do, and that's just customary for their lineage. Like if this Odu falls, they do this automatically, no questions asked. So this is where it gets tricky because there's so many variables to what is actually going to come for you, and this is why this question is so hard. But I will say, and it also depends on where you live, because what I get for birds, what I get for animals, you go up north, y'all paying a different price than what
we are.
and I'm
further north.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way because you talk to other priests and you be like, you pay how much? So for me, let's say it's a pigeon, $10 to $15 for a pigeon for me. A hen and roosters, I know a hen is like 20, rooster probably 25, guinea fowl probably around the same. Now them goats, is it a little goat? Is it a big goat? This is where it could cost anywhere between $200 and $400 per goat, depending on the size and things like that. So I also have to look at the experience of the diviner, because if you go into Oloye summa cum laude, it might be a different price, and he's earned that by his his title and his work, versus if you go into a babalawo or an awo in training, it may be a lesser price. So you have to take that into consideration. But I would say, unless you just got crazy stuff going on in your life, I would say no more than like $700-800. That would be for me. I would say the range would be 4 to 8. That's my range. Now, there's exceptions to that. Because you meet some clients and they got like life or death stuff going on, carrying birds with them. And by that we mean they have the presence of the Yami around them. Things that are immediate. Like I've seen divinations fall where the person was advised not to leave the home. They need to do the work right now because you may not make it home. So, unless it's something emergent, I would say 4 to 8 for a single divination. That's my best at trying to explain that.
So I would say, only based off how I started off, I don't have a clear answer because I could have been one that would have been gypped out if I wasn't blessed with a good lineage, a good Ia, a good Baba. Like, because and I'm a little different, right? And I think as many of us, we're just in search of something. So it's like I didn't question nothing. You know what I'm saying? I was just, it sounds cliche. I was just like following something. I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I feel like this is right. I'm getting answers. I'm getting answers to stuff I ain't even asked for. And it's like, okay, I feel good here. I feel comfortable. I don't feel like I'm being gypped. I don't feel like I'm being played with. I don't, I feel like this is legit. And thankfully, it was. But that's not the case with everybody. So I guess the only thing I could say is go with your gut. Go with how you feel. Go with what you're thinking. You know what I mean? Not all the time if you're questioning things is always right, but it's good to have questions, right? It's good to ask questions, especially if you feel as though your questions are not being answered. So I can only say that if you're not getting things answered, if you're still unclear, if you are coming out even more confused, if you do not see progress, I would say, because it does have something to do with the work, but it has something to do with you as well. But if you feel as though you're doing your part, but you're not clear, right? Because we can have struggle times and come with this and come with that, but this is why we come to E5 for clarity. This is why we come to E5 for the prescription of things. Because you can go to the doctor, get the prescription, take the medicine. It doesn't mean you're healed in a day. It's going to take time. So if you feel like, time has passed and there's no progression, there's even more confusion, there's still no clarity, and they still asking for more money, that's when I feel like you should start asking some questions. You should start thinking, like, wait a minute, hold on now. And if you can, after that moment where you ask those important questions, you get clarity, then okay. But if you feel like, oh, this don't, and this is for anybody who don't know nothing about this, like, I would say go with how you feel and be honest with yourself. Like, and you got to be honest with yourself. You know what you need to work on. You know what you need. You know what you're coming here for. So you got to be open and honest with yourself first, and then be aware of, okay, am I getting my answers, my questions to my answers, questions, answers to my questions? Am I seeing progression? Everything that I have sacrificed so far, is there movement? And do I have clarity? Can I think on the next thing instead of thinking what I came here? If I'm still thinking on what I came here for a year, 2 year later, something's not right.
Yeah, especially training.
Right.
Training for me is a big one because if I would say beware of people that don't want to train you like at all. Like I understand some things are for initiation, but taking care of the vessel they gave you, it's
Right.
your right to know how to take care of it.
Right.
Because it's in your house and you
Exactly.
paid for it. You're supposed to be worshiping it. It's their job to teach you how to worship it, how to care for it, and do the basic maintenance on the vessel in which this Orisha
Hmm.
when you call it. So that for me is key. If no one wants to train you at all. like I've seen that where they want to keep you dependent to where you're coming back and spending money and money and money, where you just trying to cast cola nut and feed your shrine. If they can't teach you basic shrine maintenance, then I would definitely beware.
Yeah, man, I think y'all touched on some great points. And it is a very hard question to answer. Like y'all both said, this stuff ranges so much. And anytime I start to give a range, I step on some toes, because there's somebody out there charging $2,000 for one air ball, and they be like, "No, that's what we do." And I'd be like, "Oh, my bad."
And you ain't the lineage for me.
like my bad. But I think y'all touched on some key points. I think transparency is one, and transparency doesn't mean that the person has to give you every price breakdown. Because, I've been working with Mauluo since I was like 19 years old, and to this day, I've never asked him the cost of a goat in Nigeria, the cost of a bird. I've never asked him. When their balls are done, he gives me a price range, but it makes sense consistently. Like, okay, I know if their ball is going to include like multiple forelegs, okay, it's going to be around 400. If it's going to include just one foreleg and this and that, it's going to be around 2 something. It stays consistent. Their balls that he do works. It's consistent, and so I've never had to say, "Hey, give me an itemized list of this price." So I think it's reasonable to ask a priest that, but I don't want people to go off and think that a priest is entitled to like give you every single itemized thing. But I think there should be transparency. Like when I give people air balls prices, I tell them what the major costs are. Like I say, look, this is $450 because the main thing here is the he goat. This is gonna run you about $250.
Yeah.
The rest of it is the small supplies, and then hey, some of it is for the work that I'm doing because it takes a lot of time. Or I'll tell, like, I at least try to give them some level of transparency. I think,
and I try to look out, like if it's an item I already have and I have a lot of that item, I don't even charge them for it. Like if it has honey and I got like 4 jars of honey, I'm not charging you for the honey, but that's just something I do to look out. I'm not saying every priest gonna do that, but that's just something I do. Like if I got if I got cola nut, if I got a rogue ball and I need to get rid of it anyway, I'm like, I won't even include, because sometimes it gets hard to price things. You be like, okay, do I charge them for this single rogue ball? Or this scoop of shea butter? Like, how do I, you know what I'm saying? So
and stuff does cost, and that's something that I've realized, sometimes as priests and priestesses, you try to always be that priest that looks out, and then you end up in the red. You end up being like, no, I got you. And then after you do all the stuff you got to do, and on top of that, sometimes because you're doing work for people, you got your own spiritual work that you got to do because you done got put in the crossfire, some energy, and now you got to go do a bird, or you got to go do this or go do that, and then you end up paying. So I think, we definitely shouldn't have lowball. But I agree with you. Like, if your mentality is, let me try to look out for people like where I can, it'll work out. But yeah, transparency, definitely, like y'all said too, consistency. Like, is the shit working? Is it working? Like, yeah, you might be able to get me one time, you know what I'm saying? But like, if I've been going to you for a while and I'm just throwing cash at you and nothing is working, like I'm
You gotta start asking something. You gotta start thinking.
I come to you, yeah, times happen, even for experienced priests where Ayewo may come out multiple times. But like, if I'm going to you again and again and again, the same issues are coming out again and again and again.
What are we not doing right?
No change, nothing. If I'm paying you, like you said, ask the questions. All right, before I pay you 5 racks for this hand every 5 or whatever crazy thing, before I pay you this, are you gonna teach me? Like ask that. Like you could ask them. Like, okay, before does it come with teaching? Like, how long you
training? Is the training included, or is it so?
I feel like the money shouldn't exceed the growth. It should be evened out. It should be matching.
I like that.
Like, if I threw you $6,000, okay, then I should have at least a shrine up in here. or I should know how to feed a shrine at least, or something.
Yeah.
So I feel like if the money starts exceeding your growth, there's a problem.
Now, I also have to mention people. Everybody don't want a shrine. Everybody don't want to go the path of priesthood. If you one of those people, we call them clients. They just come to get work done. And if you're one of those people, then you have to evaluate this a little differently. It's more so like both of my Howard said, is it moving in your life? Because you won't have any of the icons, and you're not looking to be self-sufficient. You're just looking to get work done. Nothing wrong with that. Some people, that's their jam. So
But I do want to add on to that because I think people need to realize, because I don't know, I just think it's like, yes, we all have a choice, but it's a difference between a choice and destiny.
that's
So if
true.
you're coming as a client and
True.
you've already been informed that, I don't know,
It's
say
supposed to be
your
more.
destiny is not to be a priest, but you're supposed to be actively given to E5, given to your head Orisha, da, 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 and you're like, nah, I ain't trying to do all that. I just want to pay, da, 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 don't it? Like, yeah, you can choose not to go that route. However, don't expect much out of that because it was already explained to you what you should choose to
That's a good
do,
point. Some
especially
people
when
don't have
it
a
comes to
choice.
your destiny. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
some people don't.
I think, yes, this is a choice. However, this is also destiny. So that's just like, and I think we can talk about this on another show. Just like, and I can only speak to this from experience. A lot of us women in this tradition, we have a hard time when it comes to relationships, dating a Babalawo, not dating a Babalawo. What's the choice with that? Da, 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 da. And some of them, oh, I'm not dating no Babalawo. Okay, that's fine. But if you're told the best route for your destiny is to,
Man, yeah,
and
that's definitely need to
or
be a topic.
or if you're an Apetabi from heaven, from the spiritual realm, versus just marrying a Babalawo, that's a bit different.
That's,
You don't really have a choice. Like you do have a choice. However, when it comes to your destiny, you gonna be met with a lot of friction compared to the challenges of just it being your destiny. And I can speak to that personally.
I
I'm
don't
just
know why
saying,
I can't find no good man.
right. So that's just like another topic can be, not right now, but another topic can be how some people believe that spiritual spouses don't exist, and they do.
Yes, they do. Yeah, man.
And you have to go the
We
route
don't do.
of, doing that spiritual divorce in order to unlock those blockages. And that's something else I can speak on personally, another show. But I'm just saying, like, we have choices. However, when we are informed of our destiny, it's a whole different thing. And it's like choose wisely, but also be aware of the choices you are making for yourself. So that's all I want to say.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll write that
Yes,
down. We definitely gonna circle back to that.
that's a good topic because like
Absolutely.
that goes hand in hand with the not getting your money's worth. And I'm glad you brought that up because the reason why you're coming back and you're having to do that ball about the same thing. Sometimes it ain't because the priest ain't doing well. Sometimes because your ass ain't listening. Like you done came, one time. If I told you this, you did that ball. Then you went back and you did the same shit.
Baba, don't you got that meme when you keep running back to her and if I said cut off?
Exactly. That's some people don't be listening, or you be like, I done studied under you for 10 years. Why can't I feed my shrines? Yeah, sometimes it ain't because the teacher ain't teaching. Sometimes it's because you ain't the teacher that gave you one Odu to learn, and it's been 3 years. You ain't learned that one Odu. It's been 3 years.
I ain't giving you nothing else. I gave you that same Oriki. It was a 4-line Oriki.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nothing else. Chad Oriki.
So it's like, it's gotta be mindful. Like, yeah, we're not all destined to be, active working priests, but some of us are supposed to have at least an Ifa shrine in our home, or at least be married to someone who practices this, or at least be initiated, or at least, sell this, or at least, have palm oil in your house for whatever reason the case may be. Those little intricate things, details that are told about your destiny are very important.
And
And if you just shy away from those things, no matter how small, big they are, it's like those are the key components to get your life going, get your life moving on what you're here seeking it.
right.
So you can't be here seeking it and be like, oh no, I'm not worried about all that. No, you act the reason why you came on this mat is that you don't even know fully. But you got it. So it's like what you gonna do about it? You can't like be told something and be like, oh well no, I only came because of this. And
Don't
then
work.
expect
Don't work that way.
something miraculous
Work that
to
way.
happen. It's like what they say in I forgot what movie that was, but like anything worth having it's worth working hard to get. So it's like you're gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna be, inconvenienced. You're gonna be, you know what I mean? Whatever got you to that mat, the inconvenience that got you to the mat, the money you sacrificed that got you to the mat, that's usually what's gonna take for you to get what you actually searching for that got you here. So it's that's only the beginning of it. After you get off that mat, you're getting told what's next. So
Right.
you can't still be in that same mode, that same stage of your life, just going to the mat here, throwing money. No, you was told some stuff, and that's the next level. You can't keep going to level one, and then expecting level 10 progression.
Right. Well, our next topic, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but it says, what effects have neocolonialism had on the Shay? And I believe my brother Shakara from the UK asked this question. So, to define neocolonialism, we're talking about the use of economic, political, cultural, or other pressures to control or influence other countries, especially if they were or had some type of former dependencies. Examples of neocolonialism today are some of the international financial institutions like the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund. You know how they make these loans with African nations to, keep them in a cycle of debt, and that has implications on our tradition about what we talked about earlier. The shipping prices go up, the
Yeah.
price of everything goes up. Unfortunately, the cola nut is so essential to our practice. So we get those shipped from Africa because they don't grow here. So, uh, that dependent relationship, neocolonialism can directly affect that due
Hmm.
to its its hold on the prices, and
Hmm.
that's one of the ways is definitely um, affected our practice and just capitalism in general. Um, you
Hmm.
know, Unfortunately, we all got bills, we all got things to take care of. Um,
We all got to eat, like actually eat.
we probably got children, probably got whatever you
Yes.
got going on, neocolonialism affects everything, and Isheshe is no different in that matter. Uh, but we
Yeah.
do what we got to do. We come together as a community when we can, and that's what this podcast is about. Us coming together and sharing ideas and sharing perspectives to combat things like neocolonialism, to combat things that we face every day, and give ideas to people that may not have thought of different ways. So, y'all got anything on that topic?
I mean, the way neocolonialism impacts the tradition specifically. I think we know how colonialism has impacted this tradition. Colonialism has tried to destroy it. Colonialism has um, led a smear campaign against a lot of our practices. Even the whole issue is not Satan. The why that movement is. I think we know about colonialism and the impact that's deep impact that's had on the continent of Africa. I'm just thinking about how neocolonialism specifically does. One of the things that I want more from Nigeria is I want Nigeria to take after Ghana. Um, You just got back from a trip from Burkina Faso, right? Like I want Nigeria to realize that the Black diaspora, can be such a strong ally and pour a lot into our homeland, which is Africa. And I think that neo-colonialism has removed leadership, which has tried to not only create equitable people first kind of structures within the country, but it's also prevented the unification of the Black diaspora with the continent of Africa. And I think Nigerians can tell you that Nigeria, some of the leadership in Nigeria is an example of that. Where it's not it's more money focused, it's more foreign interest, it's more things like that. So what I would like to see more of is not only the Nigerian leadership doing things more for the people there, but also doing the types of things that Ghana's doing to draw those connections and pull in the Black diaspora. Because as much as we're interested in the Orisa tradition and stuff like that, I would just love to see Nigeria kind of welcoming folks from the Black diaspora more. A lot of aspects about the way stuff is done blows me. It blows me. It irritates me the way that we have to fly to Europe a lot of times to then fly to Nigeria to do the stuff that we want to do. We're putting money in the pockets of when we fly Air France, we fly British, some of the British airlines.
Yeah.
To Turkey, we fly here, we fly there. Like we're to get to our own ancestral homeland, we have to put money in the pockets of some of those former colonial masters and things like that. There's a lot of layers.
Yeah.
In which I'm bothered.
Even the visa situation,
Oh yeah. Oh.
Some of those former dependencies, which were outlined in the definition of neocolonialism, they don't have to pay what we would have to pay if they have to pay at all to go to like Nigeria. Like if that's a former British protectorate, so flying into Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, the French with Senegal and Togo and Benin, and there is an alliance, the Sahel Alliance, that is working to erode some of those things by kicking France out and things of that nature. But it's
Nigeria part of that drink?
No.
Nigeria part of, what is it, ECOWAS? Nigeria.
Yeah, they're ECOWAS.
Nigeria's on the other side of that.
Yeah,
But we don't have to go into that.
Yeah, that's they are not with the brotherhood right now. Maybe in the Olodumare willing, to change the way. But
so I would say, and I could be way off topic. I don't know. Maybe something as simple as how some spaces like to paint the Orisha other than Black, or make them light skinned, or make them this, or make them that, or other than what they actually are.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of us, are drawn to this practice and this tradition because the people who we pray to and give offerings to look like us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you get into spaces where it's like, hold on, they're not looking like us. It's like, okay, that's not what it's supposed to be here. But it's like it's becoming common in certain spaces where, oh no, Oshun is real light skinned with long hair and straight, unkinky hair. And it's like, I don't look like that. That's not, you know what I mean? But I mean, I could be way off topic with that when it comes to colonialism.
No, that's
or like people will argue with you and be like, no. And it's like, yes, like they're African based. This is an African based tradition. This is what they look like.
I mean, we have it in our.
I feel like it is because these traditions were colonized initially, and were attempts to colonize them and to colonize us in the diaspora. But then that's kind of like a recolonization.
Yeah.
And whitewashing people are trying to do.
I mean, it's just so easy to debunk a lot of these things. I mean, it's in their literature. It's in the Oriki. Omoku and Dudu Ita, the small child, the small dark child that's outside. You have it with Orumila. It talks about his skin color. You have it with Ogun. It talks about his skin color. So it's easy. It's easy work for these people that want to make Orisha what
Yeah.
we make them. But I think that's a product of colonialism, because when they were taken outside of Africa to other places, people put their spin on
Hmm.
what they wanted them to look like, and that doesn't happen without colonization, doesn't happen without what happened to us. So yes, that is a byproduct of what happened, and it's all married together. So absolutely, I agree. It's as simple as trying to change the image of deities, or to make them more like what you want them to look like.
Or even the whole back to the, oh, you don't have to initiate. You could just go outside, or you can initiate yourself, type of thing. That could be tied into that too,
Maybe that's more
I think.
tied to our first to our second question, because maybe they think we all rich and they not, so they feel
Right.
like I'm just
But
gonna
no,
be.
the whole like, oh, well, you could talk to God yourself. Like, yes, but in this tradition, is certain ways to do that. You can't just be like, so yeah.
Hey man. You got when people say things like that, I just feel like you got a lot to learn. Uh, got a lot of miles to walk down the street, and learn some new terms, learn how those terms work within Isheshe. And, sometimes you got to let people go and be like, get back to me when you've been studying for a few years, and, we can have a different conversation. But speaking of terms like that, our last question of the night is, it's big on TikTok, big on everywhere else, like shadow work and manifesting. You know, how are those things like work within like Isheshe? And just to give like a quick overview of shadow work for people that may not have heard the term, it's defined as a psychological practice of exploring
Hmm.
or integrating your unconscious, which they call your shadow self, or like your hidden or repressed aspect of your personality that you've kind of like pushed away uh, due to whatever reason. It's kind of like working on that, working on wholeness, working on self acceptance and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So that's what they define, or this new term of shadow work.
Yeah.
So, what would you say about that, Ia?
I mean, I guess it's a term created to explain a type of behind the scenes work, right?
Mm,
So I think it's a lack of a better word, I would say. But I say it does well to speak to the actual subject of what the word brings up, which is, I can get DAFA done. I can even pay my bills, get my bills done on time, get the money, get it done, follow whatever, whatever. But it's it's what's in the details when it comes to certain things that's been told to you and your character. I know my E always tells me character is the best ebo and the only ebo that don't cost nothing, right? But it's the strongest ebo because you could do the work, you could be on time, do your maintenance, idafas, get your ebos. But if you ain't doing the shadow work, meaning during this time, Ifa says, speak up, say it with your chest. And that moment comes where I'm whimpering and I'm like, even if I'm scared, if I took note that, okay, if I told me to be more aware and speak up, even if my voice cracks, I did it. That's the power. That's that shadow work. Or during this time period, yeah, you're a fiery person, but Ifa says humble yourself, don't fight back. That moment where I'm steamed and I'm pissed off and I want to, hold on, let me take heat on. And in many of the stories in these Odus, right, where, you know, you get told, okay, yeah, you will be successful. This is the EBO required. Also, be aware during this time period, you know, wear this color. Don't wear that. Don't speak. Be quiet. Hide. Don't hide. Fight. Don't fight. Those are important and those are the ingredients to your elevation. That's just like you can bake that cake, but if you miss the baking soda, you miss the sugar, there's gonna be a nasty cake. And it ain't gonna be a cake. And then you go to get that slice, you're gonna be like, what in the world? And then
Yeah.
you're gonna think, I forgot the salt or I forgot the sugar. And
Yeah.
it's like that's how it I think that's what, you know, like I said, it's a lack of a better word. I don't really have nothing against it. I wish it was something better, but it's so widely known as that. But I think once you speak to what it actually is, you can you can deal with the wording of it because you know it's the work behind the curtains. It's working on your character. It's working on your flaws. It's being honest with yourself about those flaws. I'll give an example for me. I know what I did. He got how I did that Bulls, and I know during this time right now, if I tells me my character, right, that work is going to my shrine, going to Ifa and be like, look, I know I messed up today. Or you know what? I broke my taboo today, and I just want to do better. I'm trying to do better. I'm slacking on this, and I don't want to. And you being honest, you're not going there like, oh yeah, I want this, I want that, I want husband, I want this. Da, 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 da. I'm coming like, look, I know I gotta watch my mouth. I gotta watch my character. I gotta watch what I say during this time. Or even, oh, okay, I got too buck with my spouse today. I'm sorry. And it's like, you know, not hiding or shying away from your flaws, your shortcomings, you know, and also in the opposite of that, like giving yourself credit, speaking positivity into yourself. Like, you know what? Hey, I've been struggling, but you know what? I've been doing good today. I did good last week. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm doing the work. And that's you know, because sometimes if I might advise you to speak more positively about yourself or be have more positive affirmations about yourself. Sometimes if I gives those prescriptions. So I think it's those little intricate things that you necessarily don't have to pay money for is the shadow work per se.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's incredibly well said. I mean, I think you touched on pretty much a lot of things I was going to say. That yeah, I mean, I think even though the word is a buzzword, it's a lot of what we do. It's the hardest part about what we do. And I think about you had said when you define the concept of shadow or shadow work, it's like these unconscious parts of yourself, hidden parts of yourself, fears, emotions, things like that. I think that's exactly what Ifa sees. I mean, we can talk about Uri Nu, your inner Uri, Uri Ode, your outer Uri. Yeah, this outer Uri is what everyone sees when we walk around. It's our real world physical experience. It's what I can see on both of y'all right now. But your Ori Nu, your inner spiritual Ori, which controls what happens to you. It controls what people are seeing. It controls your outer experiences. That's what Ifa is seeing. That's what Ifa is speaking to. And I think you really can't hide that from Ifa. So when you come to the mat, yeah, outwardly, physically, I may present this. I may present, oh yeah, I'm a confident person. I'm this. I'm that. I'm that. But when you step on that mat, those deeper inner aspects of yourself, you just can't hide from Ifa. Them issues you got with your mom, your dad, those things come out, and those things that you try to repress, so you don't show to anybody. Those are things that come out, when divination is done. Those things that you're worried that although you may present to everyone one way, those things that you're deeply worried about, those are things that come out on the mat. Those things that the stuff that you did that you don't think anyone knew about, that you don't think anyone knows about. Those are the things that come out on the mat. So, I think, you explain that incredibly well, that's, yes, for lack of a better term, like you said, shadow work is a buzzword, but that's a lot of what it's about, confronting those hidden aspects of yourself. And yeah, that's really how you utilize Ifa. That's how you actually put Ifa to work in your life. By really doing that shadow work. Because yeah, you can You could be an Ifa devotee for 20 years. You could have an Ifa shrine. You could do every air ball. You could do this. You could do that.
Yep.
I mean, I observe people who are really not putting Ifa to work in their life.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier about doing Osei Ifa consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Form of accountability, even if you're not going to get divination done.
Mm-hmm.
Telling you every 4 days when you go to them, are you following that?
Yep.
Those things like that. So yeah, I think even though that word is a buzzword, it's what the tradition is about, and it's the hardest part of this tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin, you frozen?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. We thought you was frozen for a second.
Yeah. I think about Omoluwabi when I think about shadow work and all of the principles of Omoluwabi, like respect and having good mind to others, truth, character, bravery, hard work, intelligence. And I think these are tenets, like if you work on those, like you're working on yourself and becoming the best version of yourself. And I think that's like the ultimate goal of things like this term shadow work. And even like, manifesting, because you want to manifest E-Ray, we talk about, goodness and children and health and sustainability and victory, all of these things. I think, these buzzwords that come out, and people of the new age movement, but all of these things are already in our traditional movements. And I just don't think people know it. Or they just kind of cherry pick things from stuff they've heard around African circles. But all of these things are already in our tradition. You just have to get to a certain level to know how to put these things into your life. And until you get to that level, the person who gives you your spiritual needs is the one that is going to help you to get to that level and put those things into your life until you're ready to do it on your own. And that's the community that's waiting for people that, are interested in these type of things, but they don't kind of know how to go about it. And, they cling to these buzzwords that they hear, in these social streets. But, that's my take. These things already exist in our traditions. We already have mechanisms for these things to go. And, if you decide to come down this, African spiritual street, you'll find, we have more than enough than those type of things in this tradition. Trust me. I have this Odu for the Odu of the day. I found it looking through the Omoluwabi book, and it's Otoro Ogunda, in which it says, Eke Okuni Ika Okumo Eya Bi Eke Ba Inyo Ile Da Were Abenu Ama Yowons Nishes Onosise Difa Fun Sabagirian Tien Lo Reje Bale Asotito Ebowoniko Wase Obebo Rubo Oba So Otito So Ododo Ini To So Otito Ni Imole Imbe. And that translates to lying benefits no one. Wickedness is of no use for human beings. When a liar breaks an oath, his conscience will worry him continuously. These were the words of Ifa's declarations to Sabaga Giriyan when going to become the head of the truthful ones. He was advised to offer Ebo. He complied. Be truthful. Be honest. He who is truthful the deity will support.
Ashe.
Bro, that's
That-
my. Oh, great, bro.
I was just gonna say that's the Odu of the day. Be truthful. Ifa supports truth. Otito or truth is very important in our tradition.
Ashe.
And as they say, Ifa don't lie.
I was hyped that you shared. That's my goddaughter's Odu or Tura Ogunda, and this was the name Ifa Shotar, which speaks to that aspect of what you're talking about. Ifa speaks truth, and for us, we have this story is similar. Ormila went to the land of the liars. He went to the land of the truthful ones, and although the liars were so plenty, the truthful ones were smaller in number. The liars were living in constant fear, anxiety, discomfort. And the truthful ones always had lives of ease. So I think it's so. I'm gonna share what you just said with her because that's from her Odu, and that's why she has that powerful name. Ifa Shota.
Okay, absolutely, man, absolutely. Well, that's all I have for today.
Yes,
appreciate y'all rocking with us,
as
man.
always.
Appreciate y'all rocking with us, man. We try to bring y'all the best show we can bring y'all. And I put all of our Instagram handles in the description. So if y'all want to hit us up on the gram, please do so. We made a podcast Instagram page, the
Yes.
podcast. Please follow us on there. Put a lot of stuff in our story, a lot of great things about language and culture, our personal things, back and forth, things of that nature. So hit us up, y'all. We are here at your service, 3 practicing Awol, doing our thing in the community, and giving y'all the best information that we can give y'all. So, yeah. And always hit us up if y'all have a question or a topic y'all want us to cover, something like that. We always, take suggestions. And December 24th, Eshu is not Satan Day in Nigeria. So just remember that. We do not give any credit to the mistranslation of Samuel Ajay Crowder attributing Eshu to Satan.
Yes.
Type of evil figure. We exalt Satan. We worship Satan. We exalt Eshu. They're gonna take that soundbite. We exalt. I told y'all. You heard what he said.
Look.
Brother.
And it's probably and people need to understand that's part of the work of Eshu because they should be doing that. He be a little trickster. He like, you know what they want to say that? Let him say it. Okay. No, man.
We worship Eshu. We exalt
Ashe.
overall Eshu, as we say. And we will not let anyone demonize our great deity. So December 24th is Eshu is not Satan Day.
Yes, he is the divine messenger. He keeps all roadways, pathways to your destiny open. That's what we go to him for, to, allow our prayers to manifest and go to, let it be heard by the ears that we're asking to be heard from. It is a shoe that we ask for those things to happen, for those things to be, guided on the path of our destiny so we can elevate.
Absolutely.
And we have to go through Eshu for those things. We can't go to nobody else but Eshu.
Can't go around him, man. He's everywhere. But all right, y'all. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. We'll holler at y'all another time. Odabo.
Yes. Odabo.